What's going on, guys? So you are in for one heck of a treat. You know, the mountains in the background right there are probably a treat enough for most people, but we are here at an absolutely fantastic RV dealership. Not just a dealership, but they're kind of a manufacturer in a sense as well, because they produce a pretty awesome RV. We are here at ROA Off Road, which is RVs of America. They are essentially an RV dealership that specializes in extreme off-road capable RVs. Some brands you may have heard of, some brands you may have never heard of, but they have set up a huge selection of what they have here. And I'm going to be here for the next few days going through virtually all of these and giving you an in-depth evaluation review, in my opinion, on what makes these things so special. And this is gonna be really cool. All right, so check out their company vehicle. So this is a new Power Wagon that the suspension has completely been modified, changed out to a Carly suspension. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But with me today, I have one of the owners of ROA Off Road. This is Shane. Shane, how are you doing?
Doing great, nice to meet you.
You know, it's been a long time coming. We've been communicating back and forth for almost a year, actually. Yeah. And he's like, you know, you got to come out here. He knows that I've featured some off-road RVs on the channel a little bit. I've spent some time in Black Series, which you guys were like one of the first Black Series dealerships.
Yeah, we were.
Yep, and kind of interestingly enough, the first Black Series that I featured at RVX here in Salt Lake City was one of the ones you guys actually had.
It was ours. Yeah, we took it up and set up the entire show and got a lot of comments on that video you did, so that was really cool.
Very cool. But you know what's really interesting about this whole setup here is that there are brands, again, that I've never heard of. There are brands out here that look so cool, so unique. And if you want to talk about off-road capable, some of these brands are going to be instantly recognizable to the off-road community, especially those who consider the only true off-road worthy RVs are the ones that come from Australia. Well, I think there's a few of those out here as well, aren't there?
Yeah. So we've been importing. We have some that are like imports from China. We have some Australian stuff. We have South African stuff. And then, of course, as of late, we got some stuff that's being made and manufactured in the United States of America. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I really wanted you to come out, is not to see everything here, but also some of the new American brands that nobody's seen yet. That stuff is some of the most exciting.
And that really matters to a lot of folks, too. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people want to know that you can get high quality manufactured RVs here in the States, because as much as, you know, when it comes to tools, when it comes to other things that are manufactured here in the States, RVs are for the most part manufactured here in the US, but there's always been this stigma of quality issues, of things falling apart, things just not lasting, things that aren't built very well, things that don't have a lot of heart put into them whenever they're being assembled. And I think the products that we're going to go over these next few days are going to change people's opinions on what American manufacturing can do when it's done correctly, right?
Yes, for sure.
So real quickly, would you like to kind of go over where we're at? Because all I know is that I was picked up in the airport, or from the airport, in this absolutely beautiful Power Wagon with some really, really cool upgrades, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But then I was taken out here to this absolutely beautiful location. Look at that backdrop. I was telling him earlier, people pay a lot of money to look at the ocean and to look at the mountains, and this is probably the best view of mountains that you're going to get. It's just such a beautiful backdrop. Yeah, it's like a Bob Ross backdrop.
Yeah, that mountain right there is almost 12,000 feet. You know, beautiful, snow-capped. On the other side is Sundance, where the Sundance Film Festival is held, and beautiful area. We're about 45 minutes south of Salt Lake City, so you flew in and we picked you up and just brought you down south a little ways, so really close. A lot of people fly out here almost every day to come and look at our products, because we carry a very unique lineup, and some of the trailers we carry you can't see anywhere else in America. We're the only ones that carry and have some products on the ground. We do have two facilities, and we don't call ourselves a dealership, we call ourselves an experience center, as you see on the sign. So it's ROA Off Road Experience Center, and we have a location in South Carolina, and we have a location in Utah, and we have units on the ground to be able to walk through. Essentially, we kind of like are trying to be the one-stop shop for everything off-road, off-grid when it comes to campers and trailers, and we do carry some of the best ones on the market that you can get in the United States.
Yep, and I see a specific brand up there, Patriot. That's the one everyone always references to, and they say you want the best Australian brand. Patriot
Yes.
is probably it. So would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And it's in its class, right? There's not necessarily the best of one thing for everybody, right? As far as what it is the best in its class for sure. Canvas, pop top, you know, where it's very small. You can pull it with the Jeep, but it expands to be a beautiful camper, right? Like if you're going to live full time in it, I wouldn't recommend it. But as far as an off-road camper, it is in its class. In my opinion, I would say it's the best thing on the market for sure.
Very cool. So I'm going to jump away from RVs real quick. Could you step away from your truck just for a second?
Yes.
Tell me what's going on here, because a lot of folks might think, well, you know, he runs an experience center, they sell RVs, they got all this cool stuff, but what does he really know about off-roading?
Well, so the funny thing is, if you really want to see us off-roading, the reason why we call ourselves an experience center is because we don't just sell trailers. We take them out, we use them, but we have a community of people that we call roamers, and it derives from ROA, right? And then you add MER on the end of it. So when you buy a trailer from us, you become part of a community of roamers, right? And we have roamer adventures, we have roamer rallies, we have a property down by Zion National Park, the Grand Canyon and Bryce, and we call it Roamerland, and we do an event every September where people from all over the country that buy trailers from us come out, and we hang out for a week. But then we've done adventures down into Baja, down all over the place, Moab, where there are smaller groups, and those are called roamer adventures, not the roamer rally. But I'm first and foremost an off-road enthusiast. I love off-roading, and I've owned Jeeps. I even owned a Land Rover at one point. Went away from back to, you know, good old Chrysler products, you know, or the Rams, and huge fan of the Power Wagons. I like all the trucks. I'm not super hardcore one way or the other for trucks, but I do drive the Power Wagon, and I have lots of dents to prove that this goes off.
Yeah, this bumper isn't supposed to be here, by the way. This bumper's overlapping the back fender. That's not how it comes stock.
Yeah, it's bent because
Yeah.
I've rammed it into stuff.
You've rammed it, yeah, literally.
That's what it's made for.
And you had a suspension modification upgrade swap out done on this as well,
I
right?
went with the full Carly. It's a pin top. I know I think it's the Dominator's the most expensive one. I went with the one right below it, and the reason why is because Utah is like Jeep off-road mecca, right? There's a lot of shops around here that do retro modifications to vehicles, and I got talking with the guy. He's been doing 30 years of, you know, suspensions, and he's like, I can't tell the difference between the pin top and the Dominator, so I went with the pin top, saved myself a little bit of money. It drives night and day.
It does.
Oh
yeah, you picked me up from the airport in it. Well, I'm sure you're talking about off-road,
but
just even on-road, it does. It drives really, really nice.
Yeah, the rear end kind of bounces when you hit bumps, and the stock with the new suspension, it just kind of takes the bumps. I was down in Moab, and at 65 psi, which is what I run in the rear and 60 in the front, it felt like I was running 25 to 30 psi.
Oh wow!
What it used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? At full psi, and then I dropped it down, and it was like driving on a cloud. So I'm super happy about that, because I think my shocks were actually bottoming out because I have just abused.
Well, that's what it's for, right? Yep. And you guys not only like talk about it, you have content on it as well. You have a YouTube channel. You have all sorts of content on what you do.
Absolutely. It's ROA Off Road or RVs of America. You type in in YouTube, and we got a channel. We do off-road adventures with the trucks and the trailers. We just recently went through a tunnel that was like within inches of scraping the AC units off the trailer. We take them on Jeep trails down in Moab, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, we love camping, and the evolution of ROA or RVs of America. We originally did start with standard trailers, and then we kind of slowly moved to. It was kind of always this quality issue. We were like, this isn't good quality, so we always kept on evolving to getting better quality. And we went to fifth wheels, and then to motorhomes, and for a while we became one of the largest used motor coach dealers, right, where we carried diesel pushers, and then we moved into the off-road world.
And because I know everyone wants to see what the suspension looks like, check it out. King shocks, lift kit, airbags. You got your multi-link suspension back here as well.
The unfortunate thing is these are white knuckle steps out of California, which are super heavy duty. I had to cut off the front portion of them because this mounted right where this was. But all the times that I've had issues where I actually have hit this, it's usually been in the rear, and it's still mounted.
So these are real sliders, and I can tell you have slid on them.
Yeah, I got some. I think I got a video where I'm teeter-tottering, where we took one of the Conqueror trailers out in Moab, and I'm like teeter-tottering on a rock, sitting right on these. So, yeah.
Nice reservoir shocks up front.
Yeah, I did some body armor on the diff, for front diff too.
Pretty cool setup, my friend.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. And anybody who has a Ram, they'll know that Carly is one of the best on the market for off-roading. I think they've been involved with a lot of Baja stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
So
very, very well-known name for folks who like to convert to the best, even in the Jeep community and the Super Duty community.
Oh yeah, and this is just one of our vehicles. We have a bunch of cool vehicles. Our rule here at ROA is if you work here for at least a year, you have to get a truck or find a new job. It's kind of a joke, but
it kind of makes sense at the same time.
We kind of peer pressure everybody to getting an SUV or a truck, is because we're like, we gotta. To me, it's like you gotta practice what you teach or preach, right?
Yep.
And we want to be first users, and then we just so happen to sell trailers, right?
Yeah.
But you can't truly like, it's hard to sell something and kind of really help people find what they need to if you've not camped or used them. And that to me is one of my biggest beefs with the industry as a whole. I feel like a lot of salesmen and even manufacturers never use their products, and that's why you get some really weird designs and funky things that just don't work, because it's like, you're not camping in it, you got to actually go out and use it. And so that and we don't even call our guys salesmen, we call them coaches, because to us it's more about kind of educating you and pointing you in the right direction of what works for you.
Yeah, you know what was interesting? When we first talked, one of the things that I mentioned to Shane was, I don't want this to be a salesy type segment where I come out here and they're just trying to pressure people to come and buy a unit. And he goes, that's not what we want to do either. We just want to show you what we have, what's available for those who are looking for that next level off-road camper. Because when it comes down to it, sales folks do have to try to figure out how to use and understand their product, but more importantly, you guys use your product, and that's the big difference.
We definitely feel that way, and it creates a different experience for people, when they're talking to an actual user versus somebody that just is reading off a spec sheet.
Totally right, my friend. So Shane, what I want to ask you real quick, when it comes to off-road campers, when it comes to the capabilities of, using a truck like this, somebody has an off-road vehicle, they have a vehicle that's truly designed to go off-road like a Power Wagon, and they want to get an RV that can meet that same requirement. They want to be able to take it out to state parks, BLM. They want to go to areas that most RVs would struggle. Would you say that every RV that you have out here on the lot, and by the way, we are going to go through all of them, we're going to do an overview of everything that's out here, and then we're going to do individual videos on all of these, but would you say that everything that we're going to show in the next video here is capable for doing at least mild to extreme off-roading?
Yes, absolutely. So some of the trailers, quite frankly, are more capable than the truck that you'll be towing it with. Some of, like, talking off-road departure angles, breakover angles, those are the things that you talk about when you have a Jeep. What's the departure? What's the approach? Or some of these trailers have better departure angles than your truck will, which means if your truck can get there, the trailer, not all of them, but some of them are superior to a stock Power Wagon. My Power Wagon's not stock, so it's pretty capable. But if most stock, even off-road trucks, some of these trailers will be more capable. Most of our trailers are like, if an Airstream and a Jeep got married and they had a child, it would be one of these.
Man, that would be a really tough kid. That'd be like the star football player, wouldn't it?
It's like a luxurious, beautiful off-roader.
And I think that's the thing that you guys are going to be blown away by. Once we start going through these units and you see how they've coupled that super rugged, outdoor, off-road capable, badass look with this beautiful modern interior with technology and what you would expect, that's really where you start understanding why some of these command the price that they have.
Yeah.
The materials. I mean, guys, before you get into the next couple of videos, I want you to prepare yourself mentally for prices that are probably not traditional to what you see when you go to an RV show, right? If you're going to an RV show and you're looking at $25,000, $35,000, $40,000 RVs, and some of those RVs are upwards of 30, 32, 34 feet long, and you're looking inside, you're looking at the materials, you're looking at the frame, you're looking at the components that build those, these are at an entirely different level. These are, you can't even compare them. Again, it's like he was saying, it's comparing, I don't know if a Jeep or even a Power Wagon's a good comparison, because these are built to such a higher degree of quality control and craftsmanship that the folks that always mention on videos, why can't we build it better? Why can't we have a better product? Well, this is that better product. And you're going to see that there's a price that goes along with having that better product. Some people, like you told me earlier, there's customers that come in and they look at some of these and they're like, it's really only that much?
Yeah. It's pretty fascinating, you know, and it's typically the people that come in and most often think, oh, this is actually a good deal, are people that have actually worked their way through cheap trailers to higher end fifth wheels, all the way up to motor coaches like diesel pushers or even Airstream owners. You know, they kind of come back and say, oh no, this is actually a great value, because my motor coach used that same latch on the door, and that latch costs $20, and the standard latch that you get on a travel trailer is a little butterfly latch that costs 90 cents.
Yep.
Right? So $20, 90 cents. That's 20 times more expensive on just one latch, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll see that as we go through everything. There's a lot of components and little things that, you know, it just adds up.
Yep. And as you see RVs that even use materials like Asdel, things on the outside, that is still, even though it's a premium material and people love to see RVs that say Asdel, composite panels on the side, that is still an inferior product to what a lot of these RVs use for their sidewall. Yeah, it's it's still a budget product. It has to be cost effective enough for the mass production RV builders to use it, while at the same time giving them properties that give it an advantage. But when you start looking at how these RVs are manufactured and built, the sidewall of one of these RVs probably costs as much as every sidewall on some of your higher end typical, conventional towed trailers added up together.
Oh yeah, I mean, this one right here uses a Crane Noble fiberglass, that Green Explorer, and that one sheet of fiberglass, it's a one piece. You could probably buy 20 sheets of, the plastic infused fiberglass. You could almost build 20 trailers for the cost of that one sheet. Like, that's a big difference.
It really is. So that's where the pricing comes in. So as we go through these and you start really seeing the manufacturing difference, you have to understand, again, every little thing is more expensive. Every little thing is more premium, and that's what adds to a higher overall price. But there's a lot of people looking for that. And there's a lot of folks who have your products because they want something that won't leave them stranded.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, guys, definitely tune in now, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to go through and walk by all of these, give you a great overview of what they're all about, the brand, where they come from. I love the fact that Shane is super willing just to disclose all of that. He's not trying to hide anything here. He'll let you know if it was imported from China. He'll let you know where they're manufactured out of. He'll let you know the management teams and the engineering where they're from. And we're going to go over all of that in the next video, get that all out of the way so we can really dive into some awesome deep dive tours of each one of these units. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we will talk to you again very soon. I'm super excited to know more about this.